when we talk about a movement that's supported by volume or volume support. And so we're going to take this example. We're going to look at some continuation bars and how volume support affects these bars. And looking on our chart here, I've marked some green and red vertical lines, and the red vertical line shows a continuation bar that did not have volume support, and the green vertical lines show continuation bars which did have volume support. And so we're going to look at the ones that did have volume support and the ones that did not have volume support, and we can get a better idea of how exactly do we determine volume support. And so to begin our example, we'll focus on this bar here with the 2. We see here that this was a continuation bar based on price pattern because we have a higher close than the prior bar and we have a higher high than the current bar. Now, however, when we look at this bar and we look at the volume on this bar, we had lower volume. And my Laws of Charts and Men students, you will recognize that this bar also forms a bullish pivot. This is a bullish pivot bar. And sometimes we have questions whether we should play a pivot which has a lower volume, which is not supported by higher volume, or not. And that brings us to our Market Facilitator Index, our MFI, down here. Now, you see this blue line here, and we've talked about before how blue means operator or professional participation in the market. And when we look at this bar, we see that this bar did have lower volume. However, it's a strong bar, and the operators participated here. The operators participated on strength. When the operators participate on strength, that means they are trying to move price up. When operators participate on weakness, that means they are trying to move price down. And when we look at this bar here, it shows a lower volume, but due to operator participation, it actually had higher volume. And I'll explain to you why that is. And when you see a blue MFI bar on certain moves, it will tell you that it's actually higher volume and not lower volume. And the reason is because of the way that volume is displayed on mostly all public charting systems. See, they don't want us to know true volume. There's a reason why you can't find any volume information and why you always hear that there's no volume to be found in the Forex market. That's because the volume is your missing link. If you have access to true volume, then it will be relatively simple for you to recognize if a move is a fake or indeed a true move. And so we need to talk about how volume is displayed on the average chart so that we can get an idea of why this bar, because it has a blue MFI, why it actually means higher volume instead of lower volume. Now, the reason for this apparent volume anomaly is due to tick volume. And the volume we see displayed on almost all retail charting systems displays tick volume. And what tick volume means is that for every trade there is one tick worth of volume. Now, however, what if on that trade you bought 100 contracts instead of one contract? And see, because it's derived per trade, it would not, the tick volume would not reflect the volume of that 100 contracts. That 100 contracts is one trade. if you make a trade and it's 1,000 contracts on tick volume, it's still going to show as one trade, when in actuality the volume is much higher. And see, this is how operators, insiders, and professionals, how they assume their positions. They will buy in large blocks. And so what you see here is an example of that on this bar. Although the volume displayed is low volume, we have operator participation, and that tells us that the true amount of contracts that were purchased is much higher than what is reflected in this down bar. And so this bar and this pivot is supported by volume. It's supported by strength, so it is a strong bar. So now when we're doing our analysis and we see a continuation bar on strength and it has a low volume, then we see the operators participated on strength, then we know this is strong. But we also have to look at what got us to this point. What are the market makers and operators, what are they trying to do here? So we need to go back and see, where did they last come into the market, or where did they last leave the market? Now we see here this bar here, and we go down and see that this bar is an operator bar. Okay, so we're on the way up here. We're on the way up here, and operators participate. And we see here the next bar gives us a down signal. This is one of our bearish thrusting bars. So what that tells us is, here on this bar the operators were selling here. They were sellers, and they were selling here. So on the way back down, if price is moving down, they've sold. And we can see on the way down, look here, on the way down there is no operator participation. So that tells us that even though this pair is on the way down right at this point, operators are not participating in the move, and shortly we should be looking for a reversal down at the next support level. And when we get here, this would be our support level on the way down, the closest support level, and we will look here. And so we broke through support, and here, and that brings us to another situation, because once you see what's going on with the bar and price, and there's an anomaly here, and you have to say to yourself, well, now why is this bar strong but it has a lower volume? Why do we have a strong bar but it's not supported by volume? And that's when you start looking and you say, okay, operators are in here, they bought here, so this is their bar, and they're going to protect this low for the most part, because this is where they come in. On the way down, we know that price is going to go back up, because we don't have any insiders here to keep pushing the market down. And so once we see our reversal bar here, this is our bullish thrusting bar here, now we know, okay, there's strength here. But when we look down on this strength, we see that, okay, there's strength, it's probably going to go up, but I want to see some insider participation to confirm the strength, and we get it on the next bar. We get the insider participation. And now that we've established where the operators are and what they want to do, we know that they want to bring price up. We look then and find, okay, we ask ourselves, where is the public? We know where the operators are, but now where is the herd? Because as we already know, price moves against the herd. Well, when we look for the herd, we find them right